Drop that, DJ.
Got a new tune going this week, Josh.
I like it. A lot of changes for Loopers for Life. Hey, welcome to Game 12, Loopers for Life, where we talk golf, Kentucky golf, looping stories out on the links of the fairway. Just anything in general that we want to talk about. We just talk. But, I mean, main thing, we got a production team back here at Talgrace Media and Marketing. Bump that up, man. New intro. I like it. What? Here we go.
So you mentioned something, Josh, on new changes. So you can find us now on Apple Podcast. Go to the little podcast button. It's a little purple button in any sort of Apple device. And you can now just search for Loopers for Life, and you can find all of our episodes.
All right. Facebook page, Loopers for Life. Go like that. Share it with your friends. We're going to do some marketing. Really promote this in our community, our social community. Just everybody hugs. If you love the game of golf like we do, guess what? This is your podcast right here. So we're excited to get with Game 12. A lot of great things going in the game of golf right now across the world. We got big topics to talk about. Got to check in with our co-host who is not here. Yep. Oh, Loopin' Joe.
Yep.
Oh, Loopin' Joe, you on the phone with us?
Yes, I am.
All right,
Sure
Joey
am.
Sears. How you been, man?
I'm doing good, man. This weather's hot, though. It's hot.
Oh, I know.
It is hot.
Let me ask you, Joey. I mean, as a caddy and you're still in the game, which is what I love about having you as a co-host, even though you're not in the seat right next to me. Mm-hmm. How often do you carry a bag?
Very rarely anymore.
Very rarely?
What?
Yeah.
Are you,
I mean, I do in some tournaments, for some friends, and some like Symmetric Tour stuff, which I haven't done in a while. But
so you just basically Fore caddy then? I mean, you're just out there with the four guys.
I mean, he's up there at French Lick. I mean, what's he doing up there if he's not caddying?
Are you riding in the cart, bro? Because I've seen a couple of Facebook pictures, so you need to be hustling a little bit more, man.
That's not caddying. If you're Fore caddying, it's not caddying.
You need to be up there running, dude. Back in the day, Don, have you running up those? Hey, Joe, let's go running up those hills, man.
I still do quite a bit of running. I mean, you gotta chase after them parent golf balls that are going in there.
Is there one Fore caddy per group, or is there two Fore caddies per group up there?
It's just one.
Just one.
So you're working. Yeah. So that is work because you're chasing.
That's
four
a lot
balls.
of hustle, man. Yeah,
that is a lot of hustle.
Yeah,
that's
a lot of
hustle. You gotta rate. There's a ton of bunkers, and you got to give yardages. And,
that's perfect.
One guy needs a little bit more help than the other guy, but yeah, you're still doing some hustling. Plus, it's
Yeah, well, you got to give 4 yardages. You got to give 4, just greenside, courtesy reads if you can. There's always one person in the group that's going to say, "Hey, I'm going to take care of myself." I mean, I'm a former caddy,
right?
Or professional golfer, and you don't have to worry about me, sir. But so really, it's just pretty much on a hustle, man.
Yeah, I mean, you got to hustle. I mean, I miss the days of actually being out in the fairway for caddying that way, but you can't. There's nothing, no background. You can't see a golf ball come off the tee.
I think caddying, like the days of caddying where you're just carrying it and you're working for the guy that's right next to you and you're with him for 4 hours.
I think
that's
what
the
I think
best.
Caddying is.
But even now, like when you go to these nice places, and for example, my last golf course that I had a caddy was at Kiowa Major Resort.
Yeah.
Right.
2 caddies, they're double bagging. And I mean,
right.
and that experience is, it's great.
Yeah.
But it's still minimum at best. I mean, when you have the one-on-one caddy, now
that's where it's at.
It is where it's at. That's the true value of the game, in my opinion, because you get what there's an exemption for a caddy into the rules of golf, and it says, hey, he's part of your team. It's the only time that you have that, right?
I'm going to be honest. I miss one-on-one caddying for just one person with 3 other caddies in the group. The days like we had when we were younger at Valhalla, which, we double bagged out there.
Oh, yeah, definitely. I was looking for a hot dog, though. I'm like, hey, you want a double bag? Hell yeah, I want a caddy dog.
But back then it was fun to kind of get, 4 guys, 4 different caddies, and then we would all kind of bet each other. You know, hey, my guy's going to beat your guy today. Especially if you had
all kinds of
especially
bets.
if
You all
had,
would
like,
bet each other?
All kinds of
Really?
bets. Oh,
Yeah.
definitely.
Well, how would you know who
Oh,
you
yeah.
got?
Hell, there were
You
days
didn't.
left
I
there
mean, you
without-
know, every now and then you would get a hold of Don and be like, "Hey, Don, we're out, we're all playing a game here, and
Yeah.
let's get the
Wow,
players where you
okay.
know that you have the member players." It was always better on the weekend for sure when you had the member players.
Yeah.
But
I mean, there were days you left there without your caddy.
Oh,
You
man,
lost it to
I can't
another
tell you
caddy.
how much money I left out of
Oh,
Valhalla.
man.
I mean, there was one we played on Monday, and I mean the caddy game of choice when I was there, and this is again like early 1991, 92.
Yeah.
Was Daytona. And Daytona
Oh,
is
yeah.
where, you know, your 4 players are playing. You got 2 players there are partners. You have a par 4, and you both score 4s. On your team score was a 44. The other 2 players both scored 5. They were 55. So
Sure.
you lost 11 points.
Sure.
Or you won 11 points,
Sure.
however you won. But where it got salty is if somebody made a birdie and nobody made a
Yeah.
par on the other team, and you would put the high number in front of the low number.
Oh, wow.
So in the same situation, you know, you and I are playing. Well, let me put this on the other side of the coin, because I was mostly on the other side. You and Joey were teams, and
Right.
you made the birdie. Joey made a 5.
Yeah.
Y'all get a score of 35. Well, my partner made a 5, and I most likely made an 8. I mean,
Yeah.
you know, 8 skate and donate over there.
Right.
And when you made an 8 skate and donate at Valhalla, that 35 becomes 85. You
Ooh.
lose 50 points.
Ooh,
Let's go.
that's tough.
It's a great game.
And who played for the most money in that game out there? I mean, there were times that we seen money, $20,000-$30,000 exchanged. in
Oh,
that game.
yeah.
Really?
Oh, and
Not in
members. Yes.
Not in the caddy range,
No.
obviously. We
No.
didn't have that kind of money. But
No, but I mean,
Wow.
I had a week where I lost $350. I mean, I basically caddied. I mean, it was $25 a loot back then. I
Ugh.
caddied a whole week. Now, in fairness, my man Don Nuzzo, I mean, the caddy master extraordinaire. I mean, Don was the man of all men out there at Valhalla. I love that guy and what he did for me in the game of golf. But I mean, that week, what he did for me was great because he gave me the best loops, and I was
okay.
able. I think I like netted out $25 for the week.
Golly. Hey, Joey, let me ask you a
Yeah.
question. When you're getting yardage,
Yeah.
do you use any sort of digital help, or is it all you eyeballing everything and walking it off?
Say that again.
Are you using like
Do
a
I use it?
rangefinder, using your phone?
Oh
or-
yeah, I don't even go to a yardage marker anymore. I mean, now if you're, you know, we're still using yardage books and walking it off if you're caddying in a tournament, obviously.
Okay.
Oh, just lost him right there. Did not mean to do that.
You just-
He was talking to
you ended him.
No, I did not mean to do that. We'll have to call him back. But that's odd that he does not use to go walk it off. I still like to go over and walk that off. Still, so as you go through.
But you there?
Yeah. Sorry about that.
Josh
but
didn't
yeah.
end on you. Yeah. So Joey, I'm curious. I mean, so you're only going to walk it off if you're in a tournament.
Yeah, because you're not using rangefinders there, so you're going to have a yardage book. But yeah, I haven't walked off a yardage. I mean, you know, I kind of miss those days of walking off the yardage. You know, the old. I mean, we had the sprinkler heads at Valhalla memorized.
Right.
I mean,
Oh, right.
you know, I can probably still stand in 6 fairway in the old green, not the new one, and tell you that's 135 to the middle of the green. You know,
That's definitely not the new one at Valhalla.
Yeah, no, it's like 235 now. But yeah, it was. You know, I kind of miss doing that, but now it's just you just pop out the rangefinder, you throw out a yardage. You know, I'll give a guy front yardage, cover yardage, raw yardage. You know, if we're playing uphill, I'll tell him. You know, I turn my slope on my thing and just throw that out there, but you know, give him the win or whatever. But I miss the days of
True caddying. True
Just
caddying.
Interesting.
you
Yeah.
actually dropped the bag, went and found the nearest sprinkler head. Hope that they didn't change that thing out at some point during the
Where it said,
maintenance.
That's
and it
right.
said like 230.
I always like it when you find a sprinkler head and you're at the 145 area and you know, there's no 150 marker or something, and you look at a sprinkler, it says 197.
Yeah.
Do you guys
you
use
know,
them personally?
Both, you talking about?
When you're playing your own game, are you going to use rangefinder?
I don't.
I don't pull rangefinder. I don't carry rangefinder.
That's the reason why I'm no.
I don't either.
I like having them. If somebody has them, I'm always going to ask them.
I
what they
kind of
got.
asked too.
I mean,
I'm with you.
This is a salty subject with
Yeah.
my partner or my ex-partner Kobe Wollitz. Him and I played in the pro.
Okay.
And I like to play by my toes. I like to go walk off the yardage and all that. But every time I did, I would walk off the yardage and then make a guesstimate in my mind and be like, "Hey, Kobe,
what it was?
what do you got there?" And then he's going to give you every yardage that you want to know.
Gotcha.
I mean, and that's the reason why he's such a fantastic player, because he's very diligent in knowing that stuff. And it's just kind of like what Joey said. I mean, cover yardage to the thing, and then the raw yardage. I mean, was it playing with uphill and downhill? And it was interesting, like this weekend at the Quicken Loans up in Detroit, you had a lot of caddy conversation, because it was there was only again, there was 3 players and went into another playoff on the PGA Tour. You can hear when it gets down to the final 2, there's golf coverage is what it is on the European Tour.
Right.
I mean, they actually will let the players make a conversation without somebody talking on them. And it was really good, because you can hear them talk about the playing yardage, the raw yardage, as Joey said. And that's the most important, especially when you're out there with the adrenaline rush that these guys are hitting, shots in on the 18th tee. I mean, Joaquim Noen, I think Neiman, excuse me, who I had highlighted last week. I have to say, he was highlighted. But, he hit a shot on the 18th. His only bogey of the event is in the first playoff hole, and he hit a pitching wedge that was 147 yards to the hole, flew it long in the one spot that you can't go on that particular hole and make a par. And
do you know how many times that's happened on PGA Tour?
Where
someone has not made a bogey?
Oh, twice.
So that was the third time.
That would have been
happened.
the third time that it's ever happened. And
does it count with the playoff hole?
No. He went through.
He got through all 4 rounds without a bogey.
It may have that may have happened. That may have been the third time. I mean, yes, I would say that counts as it goes. It would just been 2 players. There's only been 2 players.
That's insane.
Yeah, Lee Trevino was one of them, and then they said the name the other day, and I didn't hear it, but Lee Trevino. And they went on and won without a bogey.
What a feat, man!
Yeah, and
that's
then
crazy.
just to make your last bogey in the first playoff,
I know,
or your only bogey in the first playoff.
Right.
But when you play a Donald Ross course, if you hit it, on the wrong side of the hill, and he did, and it was in the thick rough. I mean, if that would have been just normal member rough, he probably gets it up and down.
Yeah,
coming out of that rough right there, it was impossible. So. It's the hearing those conversations and like Joey said, I mean, just the good old days. You kind of get a feel for we're coming into the good old days as the British Open is quickly the Open champion,
right?
The Open Championship. They don't call it the British Open.
Hey, do the starter real quick. Do Tiger Woods.
Oh, I got a great starter story today. But yes, on the tee, playing from California, Tiger Woods.
I don't understand why that guy did it, but it was hilarious.
He was the best. He did it for 50 years. I can't remember we will know his name next week at the British Open. I'll do the research on
Joey, we would be in the shop at Oxmoor, and we'd have the British Open on, and we'd just die laughing every time the guy would announce somebody's name. It was a highlight of mine every year.
It's my favorite tournament too. I mean, it is my favorite major. Everybody asks, "Hey, what major would you want to win? What major would you want to win, T-Rock?" You got 4.
It's not British Open. I think for me, it's the Masters.
Yeah, and I mean, well played. I mean, you're
I think
both
it's
exactly right.
I think it's the Masters.
You're in the club. You get to show up. You get to relive your history.
Yeah.
I mean, there is no doubt that having a green jacket is number 1 on most people's major list. Outside of this guy right here, give me the Open Championship. Give me the one with old Tom Morris's name on there. Give me the one that represents the world.
Yeah.
I mean, you are the champion golfer of the year. I want that title. So, I mean, I look back and as it's coming, and we're definitely going to talk about this. I mean, that title is probably one of the hardest to win, because you got to qualify, get over there, do all this stuff. There's a lot of people back in the day that didn't go over there, especially Americans. But it's the one that Arnie said, hey, you know what? I'm going over there and playing in this, and because it is one of the most important championships in the world. And he went over and resurrected it in the Americans'
I didn't realize that.
Yeah, Arnold Palmer. I think he won it.
There were a lot of guys.
Is that
there
true?
Were a lot of guys.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it was at Troon. He played in the pouring down rain, and I mean, it won a lot of guys over. And just the history of times for some of the great players that would not go over there just because of travel time and couldn't hop on the Concorde like they do now.
It's a little bit tougher to get over there.
Right. But
have you played? Have you played in Scotland?
I've never been in Scotland. I was fortunate enough to caddy in the amateur.
That's right.
In Ireland. It was the
That's
first.
right.
It's only the second time that Ireland hosted the amateur championship, in ever.
Yeah.
So I mean that had a lot to say. But it was in Ireland. We were in Dublin, Portmarnock Golf Club, which is one of the hardest golf courses I've ever stepped foot on.
Yep. Joey, have you ever played in Scotland?
Oh no, I never have. I mean, I've played in Scottish weather plenty of times.
Yeah.
And that was the other day. I mean, a week ago that was Scottish weather.
So I got the opportunity when I was 13, and my dad and I played St. Andrews, and we played Kings North and a couple other ones. And man, I tell you what a cool experience.
What a Fife it would be the ideal spot to go. I mean,
Yeah.
even if you don't get to play the O course, everything around St. Andrews and going to that area, Carnoustie.
We didn't know, so we showed up without a tee time and just put our name on the list.
Yeah.
And the starter was like, I don't think this is going to happen. But we stood around for maybe an hour, maybe 45 minutes. And then a foursome showed up with two of the guys that weren't there. So we played with two locals,
Right.
which made it even cooler.
Yeah.
And they were awful, but it was funny because at 13, I was decent. Actually, I think I shot 73 on the old course and had a big number in one of those big bunkers. And they were blown away because neither of these guys could hit it out of the shadow. And it was just an awesome experience.
Caddy?
Yeah. We did.
Okay. What was that like? Did he insult you and shit? Like,
no. I tell you what, though, man, they so my dad and I are quick, so we're very quick players. But I tell you what, they want you to play fast over there.
Oh yeah,
they are on you like crazy. Now the two guys we were playing with weren't very good, so our group was slow. But man, they are on you about keeping pace.
3 hours and 15 minutes.
Oh, I mean,
is like
it's
standard over there.
They're on you.
They hit and move. One thing that's interesting about like watching Scottish golf and over there is that most, and especially as I follow it from the club level and from the PGA professional side, is every game over there is played in a Stableford. They don't play any medal games over there. And so that way, if you make a big number, you just kind of go and you move on. So you're trying to match your handicap in a Stableford competition. And it's needed because there's days that you play golf that is nobody else in America would play.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, and that's just pretty much every day over there.
Yeah. Well, and to your point, there's holes where you can get in some of these bunkers where it's almost impossible to get it out of there. I mean, you're hitting it backwards or sideways or whatever it may be.
They had a few like at Portmarnock.
It's nuts.
Right.
So I can see why they do the Stableford because you can get such a high number so quick.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, that's my kind of game. All right, I made an 8. Let's go next hole.
Yeah,
8 skate and donate.
Don't worry about that.
I mean, there's a lot of games. I mean, they basically do the Wednesday night men's league out at Persimmon Ridge in the Stableford, and I mean, and that's a golf course that deserves that too.
It does, man.
I mean, you can make an 8 very quickly and get on the wrong side of the ridges out there.
Yep.
And so, I mean, the Stableford point scoring system and what they use over there is. Needed here in America too. I mean, there's too many stroke plays, too many people grinding out nines in American golf, in my opinion.
I like Stableford. I like any form of golf where if I tee off and I hit it bad, I can just say I'm done with it.
Yeah, I'm with you.
That's what makes it fun. I mean, and that's what always amazes me about the guys who just grind on those 9s and 10s, and they're like, hey, you know what? Mark me down for 11. I'm like, bro, I'll put you on a 7 and let's go. I mean,
the other
that thing up and
the other thing I thought was interesting over there is there's par 3 courses everywhere.
Yeah.
And they're not great,
right?
But there's these little par 3 courses, and it's all honor boxes, which blew my mind when I was 13.
Right.
So there's no shop,
right?
You just go put money in a little, basically a
box,
mailbox,
right?
And you just go tee it up. And the other thing was nuts. So my dad and I were playing this little rink-eating par 3 course. My dad's a good player. As a 13, I was a good player, and then so we're playing all the way back. Well, this dude starts yelling at us for 2 straight holes, and we're like, why is this guy yet? We couldn't really understand him.
Right.
But he came up and he said, you guys aren't members. You cannot play these tees.
Oh, yeah.
So it's a big deal over there.
Yeah,
like member-only tees are a big deal.
Right.
And we found that on a couple other courses, too. Like you don't play it all the way back unless you're a member.
Well, I read this book, and my son gave me a book called A Course Card Ireland for, and I like how I say Ireland. You got to roll the R with Ireland. But a course card Ireland because I went to Ireland and I keep doing it. I can't stop Ireland. But it's by Tom Coyne, who is he wrote for all the golf publications, and it's a fantastic read. He basically backpacks his way with 7 clubs across the seaside.
Wow.
On all of Ireland, and plays all the great links courses on the seaside. And he does this back when he was drinking, and so he had pints, and the stories were great. Then, because it was such a good read, and COVID was going on, and everything was shut down, I went and found or off Amazon. I went to Amazon and ordered his book called A Course Called Scotland, which he goes back 5 years later or 3 years later. He's not drinking anymore, and he's traveling.
The sober tour.
The sober tour, but he plays every golf course in Scotland.
Oh, wow.
Every golf course, and then lists them out, puts his top 10s, and I mean, it is a fantastic read. And to your point, the amount of golf courses over there that are just drop box.
Just random.
Yeah, just drop box. And in Scotland, there is definitely per capita more golf courses than in anywhere.
Yeah.
So you think about all the great Scottish golf courses that are linkside that, are then in the open rotation, but the numerous ones that are on the outside, the numerous ones that you got to play in between the cattle fences.
Yep.
I mean, did you see any cattle fences
over
there?
Big time. Yeah. And the cattle there is crazy because they have the long fur and the big horns.
Right.
It'll blow your mind.
Well, you know what blows my mind is a guy like Joey who's never been across the pond. A guy like Joey, never been across a pond, right? But looping forever. Yeah. And then hopping in private jets. I mean, how do you get in? Like, how many times have you been in a private jet to go caddy, bro?
3 times.
Three times. And just recently, you had one recently, like a week or two ago. I can't believe I didn't talk about this last week. I mean,
yeah, well, it happens every now and then, guys. They kind of just decide that they like you and they got a bunch of money and they want to fly you somewhere.
So,
and,
how much money does that cost? How much money do you make on a looping day like that? I have to know. I mean, you don't have to share full details because
we're going to keep. Let's just say the plane cost $8 million.
You did not.
Wow.
But you got to ride in the plane. What's that like, man?
I wasn't in it long enough to
about an hour.
It was it'd be nice if these guys would be like, hey, we're going to Bandon Dunes.
Right.
Right.
Yes. But they want to go to something that's 12 minutes away.
Basically, you hopped in the plane and flew up to Chicago, and you were in Chicago in 10 minutes, right?
Yeah, it was 42 minutes, I think.
42 minutes flight time, and you fly out of. Is that French Lick have a airport there?
French Lick has an airport. Yeah, French Lick has
that private jets can fly into.
Interesting.
Nice.
Actually, you can land a pretty good sized airplane in that airport. I didn't know, and I've flown out of Louisville. We flew. I think I flew one time down to. We went to the was that Alabama Robert Trent Jones?
Yes,
Trail?
that is the RTJ.
I did that many years ago, and then
on a private plane.
Yeah, that was the first time I ever did that. Was some guys
must
were
be
like,
nice
hey.
to be Joey. What about you two? You ever been on a private plane?
Yeah. So my mom, who passed away when I was 16, she was a travel agent. And so she was a travel agent for kind of celebrities and some wealthy people. And so I've seen the life from the other side. Yeah.
I've never had that invite. I'm still, if anybody's watching this or listening on YouTube and or on our Apple podcast, I'm available. I'll hop on that private jet. If you need golf lessons, I will make it a corporate day that you cannot.
What's crazy, Josh, is you don't have to go through like the TSA protocols.
Oh, right.
So you just
I can tell you this, Josh. Flying into those private airports, a lot of them aren't manned, and they got like just key codes, and they got beds and couches there.
Right.
And these guys are, they tell you about a lot of crazy stuff that goes on. It's a different world. I mean,
I've seen it. Have you ever seen that show where they do the air repo?
Yeah.
Where that guy he sneaks in the airport.
Take the
dude, that is one of the best shows on TV, reality shows.
I wanted to start a repo company at one point.
Oh my gosh, no way, man. I mean, there is no way that I would want a repo. But I mean, that guy who gets in a repo thing and basically he repos an airplane.
It's crazy.
It is crazy.
People chasing him down the runway. Hey,
that is such a great show.
I mean, it's all fake.
It's got to be, but at the same time, I mean, TSA's got to know about this is going down.
All fake, man.
Can't fly. Yeah. Well, it's interesting that you talk about flying around in the world and everything. Let's talk a little bit about golf and, and also, too, that we were talking about this book from Tom Coyne, all the great golf courses in Scotland. I want to discuss some of the great golf courses in Kentucky because there was a par 3 comment T just was talking about. Like all the golf courses over in Scotland, there's like little community par threes where you just go out there and you play.
Tons of them.
There is not that in America anymore. They went wayside. And man, I played this past week at Oldstone, the golf club at Oldstone in Bowling Green.
Awesome.
And they have a 9-hole short course called the Cinco that is right behind their practice facility and learning academy. And it was incredible. And I was very, very impressed.
So that wasn't there when I played Oldstone.
No, it is a brand new. The guy who designed it is actually a guy who is from Kentucky himself, went to Murray State.
Okay.
His name is Jerry Lemon or something like that. I did some Google research on him. He's an interesting character, but it is a 9-hole short course. Longest shot is 120, but you could probably play a 215-yard shot creatively and make it whatever type of golf course that you want to hit, whatever type of shot that you want to hit into. It was incredible. Absolutely incredible. And the world needs more 9-hole courses.
Totally
like that.
agree. Totally agree, man.
The game needs it. America needs it. I mean, it would be unbelievable if you could have something like that the general public can play. Yes, you can do it over at Seneca, but I mean, I'm talking about
a real,
really good golf course.
Did you know there was a 9-hole par 3 golf course at Fern Creek High School?
At Fern Creek High School?
Yeah, Metro Park's actually back in the 70s, early 80s, where Fern Creek Elementary sits, where the baseball fields are over there. That was a Metro Park 9-hole par 3 golf course.
Never knew that. I'm from Fern Creek, and I mean
you are from the creek. You didn't know that.
Y'all remember my gold T-shirt? You saw that Tiger T-shirt the other day.
That's crazy. I've never heard that, Joey.
I've never heard that. I mean, I've heard of all the great golf courses that were out that way. I mean, with Seatonville Springs, and there was another one that was out towards Mount Washington. I can't recall what the name of.
Hidden Valley.
Yeah,
I don't
Hidden Valley.
know if you use great when you talk about, but okay.
I definitely use great. If it's in Fern Creek, it's coming out with greatness, man.
Right,
Come on,
enough.
you know that.
Fair enough.
But I did not know that.
Explain to me. All right, so I totally agree with you on the Club Oldstone being an unbelievable course.
Right.
Explain to me how they're able to pull that off in Bowling Green, because Bowling Green's not a big city.
It's Nashville.
So you're thinking people are coming from Nashville on that?
Every university, every city that has a major university in it is wealthy.
They pulled it off.
That city is always going to be, and you can look at that across the board. I mean, across America. I mean, if you got a major university in your city, you're going to have wealth. I mean, it's just the economics of it. But that place really draws from Nashville, and it draws from being built as a national place, somewhat like Victoria National was trying to create, because it was built a little bit later. Think of I'm not 100% when Victoria was built, maybe in the 90s or early 2000s. This place was built in 2006, but Nashville is with traffic now 45 minutes.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe an hour with traffic. And now I've driven it, like the last time I came up from spring break, it was 90 minutes. But
I went to college in Nashville. I don't know, man.
Nashville has grown tremendously. I mean, every time I go through that town, it is crazy how big that place looks like Manhattan.
Right. I agree.
And so,
and also, if you are a member of Golf Club of Tennessee, you're also a member of Oldstone. So they've got
right.
I think so.
Yeah.
There's a couple.
Well, they got cottages there, and so the
cottages are cool.
Yeah, the cottages are cool. The cottages are open, and that was something that, and please don't quote me on that, but I mean, from my understanding, that you do not have to be a private club member if you wanted to rent that out. You can go down.
Yeah.
But that 9-hole course where America started to get this trend again was Gil Hanse redesigned number 4 at Pinehurst and built this place called the Cradle, which is just on the right side of the property, and it is a 9-hole short course. Longest hole is 135. It's unbelievable. Yep. It's so much fun to play.
Right.
Oldstone was cooler.
Interesting.
I think Oldstone's the best course.
The Cinco was better.
So you're going to go with the best course in Kentucky, Joey?
I think Oldstone is, yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, there is no doubt it's number 1. I mean, I have to agree.
Valhalla.
Let's go with our top 10 right now.
Over Valhalla.
Oh, definitely over Valhalla. So let's go with our top 10. Before we get into all of the golf news from all the stuff, let's talk about Kentucky golf for a minute. Joey, do you want to lead it off with your top 10, or you want let's go numbers 6 through 10.
Okay, well, people are going to be mad at me on my top 10, but I don't care.
6 through 10. Let's just go 6 through 10.
All right, 6 through 10. Let's see. I've got Persimmon Ridge, Lassing Point, Traditions, Heritage Hill, Wasiata Winds, and General Burnside golf course. And then
that's 6 through 10. So Wasiata Winds, which is a state park golf course. General Burnside is a state park golf course. What else did Mineral Mounds? Is that what you said?
No, I don't have that in the 6 through 10. So
all right,
I've got.
Was there another state park golf course in there?
Yeah, Del Hollow.
Del Hollow, yes. Del Hollow needs to have a lot of credit.
Yeah, Del Hollow's
because
nice.
They have street cred. I'll have to give them every time anybody plays Del Hollow, including some fellow golf professionals, they always talk about how nice it is. My dad absolutely says it's one of the best golf courses in Kentucky.
Yeah, it is.
I'll give you my top 10.
All right, you gonna rank them?
I'm gonna go. Yeah, the 6 through 10 isn't on the list, but the first 4 are ranked. So Oldstone, I got Oldstone as number 1.
Okay.
And I got Idle Hour, which hardly anybody gets to play, but that's a great golf course. Then I've got Stonecrest and Del Hollow. So those are the top 4 in my opinion.
Del Hollow in the top.
Yeah.
All right, and then who's your fifth?
And then I just go Persimmon Ridge, Lassing Point, Traditions, Heritage Hill, Wasiata Winds, and General Burnside, not in any order. I don't have Valhalla in the top 10.
Wow.
And hate me for it, but I don't.
Golly.
Wow
is right.
I mean, we talked about Valhalla and their ranking in the America and how they hit the top 100 lists and whether that's rightfully deserved or not and where their spot is. Obviously, their history in the game of golf is more important than their ranking, in my opinion, which makes it always so special for me. But wow.
Did you say Heritage Hill?
He said Heritage Hill.
Where did you put that?
That's great.
I got a 6 through 10. Now, look, I'm only ranking these based on the fact that I've played them. I enjoy playing them. I'm not ranking them on condition because, obviously a couple of these aren't going to be in the condition that Hirschburn or the condition that Valhalla's in. The only reason I don't put Valhalla in the top 10 is just because, I don't know, I just don't put it in the top 10.
How was Hirschburn not in the top 10?
The only reason I don't have Hirschburn in the top 10 is because I don't like any golf course that finishes on a par 3.
Oh, my gosh. A great par 3.
What an awesome hole.
There is not a better par 3 in Jefferson County.
But listen, when I got a bet going on, the way I play par 3s, I don't want to come to the last hole.
Man, that's the best way. I mean, the potential walk-off. I mean, I certainly understand what you're saying right there.
No,
I mean,
I think Hirschburn. I think Hirschburn and Valhalla are both worthy of obviously being in the top 5. I just didn't put them in mine.
There you go. T, what you got for me there, cousin right. T-Rock?
So I'm going to give you my 1 through 10, and y'all are going to think I'm crazy. And look.
You going to start at the top, or are you going to go?
I'll start at the bottom.
All right, there you go.
I'm going to go Dale Hollow at 10.
Have you played it?
I have.
So, all right. So, I mean, just your thoughts. I mean, right now.
It's been a while, but
tell me one great thing about Dale Hollow.
The layout's awesome. A lot of trees. It feels like a state park course because it is,
right?
But it's just some great holes, some great driving holes.
Well, I just have to say, just a real quick prop, or I guess really shout out to the state parks. I mean, they have done a phenomenal job over the last 10 years in kind of revamping their golf programs.
Kevin
Main, I mean, he is one of the best PGA professionals from the other side of the river.
Yep.
He's a Hoosier, but outside him being a Hoosier, Kevin Main is the man, and what he has done for Kentucky golf and what he has done for the state park system. Thanks, Kevin. They also had Dan Strodemeyer, who was a great PGA professional, no longer in the business, that ran the parks department. So a lot of name dropping right there. But go ahead.
And
I'm sorry.
They have great stay and play packages. So anybody listening to this, go play.
Yeah, there you go. Go play them.
All right, you are gonna. This is the most homerous pick ever.
All right, here we go.
I'm gonna go Oxmoor at 9.
Oh,
I like Oxmoor, man.
Would you say Oxmoor?
I'm gonna go Oxmoor Country Club. I'm serious. I love that course. I think you can. And opposite of Joey, I think you can play it a ton. It's still fun. The different tees make it fun and playable. Now listen. I grew up there,
right?
And I'm trying to take. I know it so well. I'm trying to take that into account. I just love playing the course.
Well, I think it's a great.
Are we ranking golf courses or women at the swimming pool?
Fair enough. Hey,
that is fair. I mean, they got nice views.
Hirschburn gets the number 1.
Yeah. All right. So Oxford's at 9 for me. I'm going Traditions at 8.
Great golf course.
I'm going Big Springs. I like Big Springs. I think it's a fun
It's
course.
Big Spring. They don't have it. They don't.
Big
There's
Spring.
only
No S.
there's
Big
no
Spring.
S on there. There's the Springs right next door, but I mean, there's only one spring in Big Spring.
A little bit of this, I'm with Joey. I'm kind of ranking courses I've played and I know a little bit.
Right,
so,
right. That's what you would do.
You got to do that. I actually like the University of Louisville Golf Club a lot too. I think Old Cardinal Club. I think that's a nice place.
I think it's underrated.
I think it's underrated too.
Fun to play. Definitely fun to play.
Keen Trace, I have it in there, kind of my top 5. I think Keen Trace is a nice course. I think they've made some great changes. I like Keen Trace.
Well, hosting the Barbasol.
Yep.
Right.
There you go.
I mean, the next week. That's next week. Barbasol Championship. PGA is coming to the Bluegrass.
That's right. Number 4, I'm going my namesake, Persimmon Ridge. Got to give a shout out to my dad, my uncle, for putting that place in Old Elmore. I mean, I love Persimmon Ridge.
Right.
They built it. Look, man, when Jack built that, they wanted it to be the best course in Kentucky, and they went after it, and they made a valiant effort.
Yeah, well, they succeeded. I mean, it is definitely one of the best courses, and it has proven in the test of time through all the championships as it held that, it's relevant of your pick.
So when they're building, when they have the little construction trailers. Mm-hmm. So when they're building Persimmon Ridge, is when the very first Nintendo came out, and Duck Hunt. And so I got that Nintendo. My dad would sit me in this little tiny hut, and I would play Duck Hunt all day while they go move dirt, build Persimmon Ridge.
That's awesome. So. Everybody played. I love that game.
Yeah.
I actually like that game because I like to Duck Hunt too.
Yep. I'm going Hirschburn at number 3. I love Hirschburn. I think that's an awesome golf course. In my opinion, if I could be a member anywhere, I think I'd pick Hirschburn. I love everything Hirschburn does. Danny, I think, is the best pro in the game.
Absolutely.
Hirschburn's an incredible
player.
Too. He is. That's right.
The 220 legend. I mean, that guy's he's like a Yeti.
He is like a
he's
Yeti.
like a professional
The executive
Yeti.
course at Hirschburn is awesome.
Oh, that's a really good point on the par 3s. The
right.
executive course and they used to do, they still do the. What's the tournament called?
The Osborne Cup.
Yeah, where you play both of them.
Yes.
What a cool format!
And they do that in their member guests. And I mean, and it's not fully a par 3 golf course because it does have 4 par 4s on there. Yeah, but it is a fun.
It's awesome.
Great place for kids to learn the game.
It's hard.
And it's hard. Yes.
The greens are nuts.
Greens are nuts, and they've done a really good job of cutting everything back down.
Yeah,
and so it's really friendly to play. I mean, it's got a lot of Bermuda over there, just because there's no trees. It just sits up around that hill.
Just
so
the
that's
course
a good 9.
is so well maintained, man. I don't know. I like the golf course.
Right.
Walter Pritchard does a wonderful job.
Yeah, Walter is fantastic.
Like I said, don't anybody be mad at me for not putting him in my top 10.
There's only 2 of us that could be mad at you.
Yeah, that's true.
Okay.
So
everybody else, if they're listening this far, I mean, hey, we're on Apple Podcasts and Facebook. All right, here we go. Nobody
from Hirschburn's taking me on their private jet.
So I'm going Old Stone at 2, and I'm going Valhalla at 1 because, man, there's something about playing Valhalla.
Right.
Now, look, I know you guys have seen it so many times. It's probably lost its luster, but to me,
still special.
It's Valhalla.
It's still special. I mean, and so go with your top 10 again one more time.
Yeah, Dale Hollow, Traditions, Big Springs, UVL Golf Club, Oxmoor, Keen Trace, Persimmon Ridge, Hirschburn, Old Stone, Valhalla.
I like it. I mean, and I like Oxmoor in there. I mean, as a former head professional there for 15 years, the one thing that I can say about Oxmoor is that every time we hosted a major championship, it stood up.
It sure did.
It stood up. I mean, you would surely have a guy that could shoot 66, maybe one that, one stroke better. But for the majority of championships I held a lot of the best. A lot of the best in Kentucky. Never got to host the Kentucky Open, but the Women's Big East, a lot of USGA qualifiers, a lot of junior tournament, the tour championships, etc. It would always hold up to the best players.
And everybody would be very complimentary of the course.
Right. And it's fun to play. And it's one that, I can see where it ranks up there.
I mean,
there's
7,
no doubt.
7, 8, 9, it's hard to come up with a better 3 holes than 7, 8, 9.
Right.
I mean, those 3 holes together are awesome. 3 finishing holes there for that front 9. I don't know, man. I'm a big fan of Oxmoor. Again, it's a homer pick, but
I'm going to go, and I definitely have a homer pick in here, and so I'm going to start.
Cherokee's your number 1.
No, that is not my number 1, but I am going to start with a golf course in Bowling Green. Bowling Green Country Club. For some reason, I think that golf course is such a good golf course to play. It's held a lot of major championships and throughout the Kentucky majors.
Yep.
Hosts the state championship for the high school boys and girls every year.
Yep.
It's a fun, old style, small city country club golf course. And they always keep it in good shape. It's got Bermuda. To me, it's just a fun golf course to play. So I'm putting it at number 10.
It's Gibson Bay when I was playing high school golf. But, man, what Gibson Bay was an awesome place,
Gibson
too.
Bay is nice. I like Gibson Bay. I like that a lot. How about Harmony Landing on number 9? I'm going to put that on number 9.
There's your homer pick.
There's a homer pick for me, but by far my favorite golf course to play daily. You spoke about where would you be a member, and you could play anywhere. I could play Harmony Landing all the time. Now, I played it when I played my most golf when I was working for Mike Thomas, and I was an assistant, and I lived in, basically where I live now in J-Town area and our Hikes Point area, and then, have to drive all the way out to Harmony Landing. But that golf course, it's got an old school flair to it. The greens are always quick. I enjoy playing
Little
it.
greens.
Yeah, little greens. Fun golf course to play, though. You can get the par 5s. Got some great par 4s on there. Traditions Golf Club in Northern Kentucky. I like that. I think I made everybody's. It is an absolute must to play. Head professional there is a great friend of mine, former looper, Brian Harp.
Yep.
Got to give the big pun a shout out right there. So Brian Harp, who used to be in the caddy yard with Joey and I back in the day. Yeah. You probably caddied with Brian, didn't you?
Yeah, I didn't know he was pro up there.
Yeah, he's been the head professional. He got that job this year. He was kind of out of golf and got back into golf. Glad to see him because I know he's going to do great things at Traditions, and it is a fantastic golf course. I'm putting Kearney Hill at number 7. Kearney Hill has had some major tournaments. It's one of those golf courses that, and when I say major tournaments, it's held the USGA Pub Links. It's held the USGA Junior whatever.
Okay.
It's a good golf course. It's a P-Dye design. I think it's Sun or, it's collaboration. Right, yeah, it was a collaboration, but fun golf course to play. Green complexes are good. You can get up there and play it. Number 6, Persimmon Ridge.
Yep. Okay.
You got to have my top 5.
Yeah, that's fine.
I mean, but I'm there daily.
Yep.
I forgot how good of a golf course it is.
It is a great course.
Kind of take it for granted, but it is a fantastic place to have a golf academy because kids learn how to read greens.
Yep.
You can see break out there. All right, drum roll, top 5. Here comes my number 1 homer, Charlie Vettner.
Oh my God.
Say what?
Wow.
Say what?
That is a
Say what?
geez.
I'm talking about TPC of J-Town, J-Town National. I mean, the best golf course in Kentucky that you can play, or in Louisville, Kentucky, that you can play any day, anytime.
The back nine's tough.
Well, the back nine. I would like to know who designed the back nine. I heard
you
a
asked me
rumor.
that. I never did get.
Well, it's because I heard a rumor that I can't even share on this podcast. That I was just like, there's no way this guy designed the back nine.
Come on.
Oh, I can't share it.
Sure.
I'm not sharing it because I don't want to put the guy that I told him he was crazy because he's my pops, and so I can't call him out. He gave me his Corvette today, so I'm rolling. I can't call you out, pops, but you said, Gil, it's not happening.
Text me that, and I'll have to look it up.
Oh, it's not him. Trust me, I looked it up.
Yeah.
Idle Hour. That is number 4.
You know, I tell you another Lexington course we haven't mentioned is Lexington Country Club.
Right.
That's a nice one.
It is a nice one, but it's not Idle Hour.
Yeah.
It's not the only Donald Ross golf course in the state of Kentucky. It just went through a major redesign about 5 or 6 years ago, maybe 10 years ago. I mean, when I say major redesign, it was a restoration, kind of bringing back the original Ross designs. And so it is a fantastic place, one that you can't even get on. But if you ever do, make that happen. Finally, number 3, here we go, Hurstbourne Country Club. I am with you.
Yep.
There is no doubt that Hurstbourne Country Club is a fantastic championship golf course.
It is.
You factor in the 9 holes the executive 9 over there.
Yep.
Just such a great facility. Louisville's best.
I love
Louisville's
Hurstbourne.
best.
I had Hurstbourne at 3 too. I totally agree with you.
Then I'm going Valhalla.
Okay.
I'm going to 2, and and again, Valhalla gets the rep. It's worthy. But it is not the golf course that the club at Old Stone is. The club at Old Stone, designed by Arthur Hills, is such a fantastic golf course. Then throw in all the amenities.
Yep.
It is the best facility in the state of Kentucky. You put in the sinkhole into the equation, it's unbelievable. I am such a fan of that place. And, I played it when it first opened. Having played it last week, I mean, it's obviously fresh in my mind. A lot of great golf holes on that. Very fun to play, too.
Now, was it private?
It is private, but it has that
Yeah.
kind of that national flavor that you can somewhat, if you want to stay in the lodge,
Right.
you can call down there and make your way on there and pay big dollars. but
We've played
Yeah.
it a couple times, but I wasn't sure if that was because somebody got us on.
so
or
I'm
what,
rolling. Here's my again 1 through 10: Club at Old Stone, Valhalla, Hurstbourne, Idlewild, Charlie Vettner, J Town National, baby,
Yikes.
Persimmon Ridge, Kearney Hill, Traditions, Harmony Landing, and Bowling Green Country Club.
So are you thinking that Vettner, and this is interesting for Joey, do you guys think Vettner's the best Metro Parks course?
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, no doubt. It needs to be cleaned up. The ditches need to be cleaned up, but
Oh wow, do they
eight-
ever?
and 18 needs to be
Yeah.
18.
I don't know why
but-
they took away those water features, but I mean, if they can bring those back, and just like clean.
But
all
what
that
about
there's
stuff.
a
what about
there's a
Seneca,
water-
Joey?
Seneca is a hard one up there, but Seneca lost its luster.
Come on now. We all know that.
We all know that 1 and 10 are the two best hoes in America. Come on.
The dumbest hoe ever designed in the state in the world is number one at Seneca.
Oh, the redesign. That was not a restoration
Hey,
project.
Joey. So
Yeah.
since your rant on number one, we held the CSAA championship out there, which is a tournament that I run, and I was out on one starting, and man, I'm gonna have to agree with you. What a silly hole.
Well, I mean,
Because I remember it back in the day. So I played at St. X, and Seneca was our home course. We played it every day.
the greatest, one of the greatest started hoes in Kentucky.
And I loved the
Right.
court, and that it's just so weird to me now how they've.
I'm gonna give you a funny little story about a USGA tournament out there. I'm not gonna mention names. So it come down to a 3-way playoff for a spot in USGA Mid-Am qualifier or something. I can't remember what it was. Ernie Denham walks over to the 3 players. I'm not going to mention their names, and says, "All right, guys, we got a playoff." And one of the guys says, "What hole we going to?" And Ernie says, "We're going to go to hole number 1." And this guy turns to Ernie and says, "I'm getting in my GD car and going home before I play that stupid ass hole."
Wow.
Did he leave?
Yes, he left.
No, did he really?
Yes.
So
Yes,
with
he left.
it went down to 2 then.
Wow.
It
Yeah,
went down to 2, and the two guys that went down number 1 were Vince Hamilton, the late great Vince Hamilton, and Robbie Crockett. The other guy left, and I'm not going to mention his name.
Wow.
But
Who ended up winning
who
that
won?
play up?
well, I'll tell you a funny story. Is Crockett hits it down the middle, and it ends up kind of down to the left by
Of
the
course.
old tree.
By the walking path?
Yeah, well, down by the old trees that are down there, and Hamilton hits it behind the tree.
Oh, you're talking about old school number 1.
No, I'm talking about the new number 1.
New number 1. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
And Hamilton hits it up to the right, and he's got to hit this flopper up over the tree. And Crockett hits his ball, and it rolls to the back of the green. And Hamilton hits the greatest shot I've ever seen on that hole in my life. That should have landed short of the green, which he was trying to do, and run it back to the pin. And it's the only ball that's ever stopped short of the green on that hole, ever.
Right.
Anybody else would have been in the road. The trolley would have picked it up. It would have ended up in
Right.
Cherokee Park down Beargrass Creek. And Hamilton was just like, Crockett ends up getting in, I think. And Hamilton was just like, how did that happen?
Well, you know what was crazy is like as bad as they redesigned the hole from the tee, they made the green worse.
Yeah.
I mean, the green is
Yeah.
and we could talk about that tee shot on number 1 at Seneca all day long of what it used to be, or hole number 1 versus
Oh, it was
what it
great.
is now. Even
Right.
as is now, and that tee shot is terrible because you could hit somebody walking their baby up the road
Yep.
and they have no clue.
no
Kill a
idea it's
baby.
coming.
No.
Right. But it is from the tee shot. But even worse, the green is the. I mean, to me, I think the green
And
complex
then
is
to put a-
terrible. I mean,
And
absolutely
then
terrible.
you put a grass pot bunker where you
Right.
can't land it short, like what
Right.
And what people don't understand is we actually went in. The cart path used to be about 3 yards off the right of the green. So if you missed the green to the right, you hit the cart path. We went in in 2000 and I don't know, a couple years after. Let's see, the hole was put there in 2007. So 2008, 2009, we went in and actually had somebody grade the right side that moved the car path over to the right. We resodded it, but it's still just a stupid hole. I mean,
Yeah.
it's dangerous.
Yeah.
It's not as dangerous now that some trees have grown up to the left,
But it's
which
still
somebody-
dangerous.
but it's absolutely dangerous, stupid hole. And to be honest with you, here's how I feel about it. I don't even want to go over to play Seneca anymore. It took off like Seneca was one of them golf courses you teed it up and you went to number one and
Still
you
love
went,
Seneca.
I'm going to bomb this thing out at the
Right.
water tower out there. And
Right.
if I make par or birdie here, I'm off to a good start. It was a fun golf course to play. I can't stand it now that
I still like it. I still think it's it was
Yeah.
it was number 10, and I subbed number 10 out for Bowling Green, just because I wanted to only give
Interesting.
Ventnor its proper due as being one of the great golf courses in the state of Kentucky, and one that's the best in Louisville. I think that you can go play.
Yep.
well, I just have my buddies.
Yeah.
I just go over and start on number 2. I just tell them, hey, look, I'll be
I'll
on
meet
number
you
2.
up on 2 up on the hill. It's because you
Yeah,
were parking over on Pee Wee Reese Road and
Well,
walking up
well,
there to play for
that might
free,
be-
bro. You
that
better
might be
watch out for
part of
that.
the reason.
So
But-
let's talk a little bit about what's going on in the fantasy world. And we only got a few more minutes. We need to wrap this up. And there's some interesting tournaments. Before we talk about the tournaments, who watched the match yesterday? Anybody watch the match?
I watched a little bit. Joey, did you see any of it?
I watched till they got to the 777-yard par 5.
Speaking about Aaron Rodgers and Bryson DeChambeau versus Tom Brady and Phil Mickelson, there was a lot of hype going up to it. Mickelson was breaking fake clubs. Apparently, a lot of trash talking that was going in.
Mickelson he was dogging on Brady and Rodgers a lot. My take was DeChambeau came off as a jerk.
Well, I like when Gronk was on the phone and didn't know DeChambeau could hear, and he said he's a slow player.
Yeah, that was funny.
Oh, Gronk coming in and out for Brooksy right there, huh?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
there's. I think the best comment that I saw was on Twitter, and that was Tom Brady asking Aaron Rodgers. He's like, "Oh yeah, I think he he's the quarterback for the Packers. I think."
Here's the thing.
A lot of stuff. It was good.
I'm not going to get into politics here because I'm not getting into politics.
Yeah, we're
but
not politicking.
Obama was on, and it was like, man, why can't we have a president that's as intelligent as this guy? You know what I mean? That's the only thing I'm sitting here thinking. And I'm not Democrat,
right.
Republican. I'm not going down that path. But it's like, man, he was actually a president that could actually talk. It's kind of nice.
It's always good. He was very much a talker, and
Yeah.
and very presidential. And I would have to say that we were getting some of that presidential just speech back. But anyways, that's another story. So, I think that who cares about that? Anybody watch the playoff last week? I mean, what a historic week for Australia. I just want to drop in Australia. Australia won the PGA Tour. Cam Davis wins, gets his first W in a 5-hole playoff, which was really exciting at the Detroit Golf Club and really good play. I mean, he gets into this playoff with a holdout bunker shot on hole number 17 for eagle, and then birdies the last hole to get in. So, I mean, kudos to Cam Davis. He's an Australian legend, really. I mean, he's made his tours down there, and he's well deserved of everything that he's got coming. The lady European Steph Kyrgios, she won. She's an Australian. She won on the Ladies Euro Tour. On the Euro Tour, Lucas Herbert gets his dub in the Irish Open. It was his second of the year, which qualifies him into the British Open next week, which is awfully good. And then the North-South Amateur, which has a great Kentucky connection, one probably more than just one, but one that I know, Charlie Ventnor legend himself, Matt Savage, played for Florida State. He won the North-South Amateur, which is one of the most historic amateur championships. The kid that won it was Louis Dublar. He is from down under, and so the mates from down under had a fantastic week in Australia. And so I would expect them to kind of continue there. I would think Cam Davis is going to play well this week at the John Deere.
Okay.
The John Deere is at TPC Deere Course, wherever that is in Illinois. It is one where everybody goes low.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's going to be a good week, and it's going to be a lot of birdies and exciting, and also one that has one spot. If you are in the top 5,
you make the Open.
You make the Open, and you're not qualified. That has one spot, so there is something to play for a lot of people that will hop on a plane in a heartbeat and fly across the pond to go play in the Open Championship the following week at St. George. Also, too, this week though. And we will talk about your fantasy picks on that, but I just got a name drop it. U.S. Senior Open Championships being played at Omaha Country Club in Nebraska. It was the second time it's been hosted there. 2013, Kentucky's own Kenny Perry got him a dub in the USGA Senior Open and became the only Open champion from the state of Kentucky. And so, he's in the field again. He won the 2013 U.S. Open and Senior Open and the 2017 Senior Open. So he's a two-time major champion in this event. It's in Omaha Country Club. Designed by some original guys. Perry Maxwell came in and did it. But here's the interesting Louisville connection on the architecture, which I love. Keith Foster was the guy that redesigned it before all the opens came back, and he is the guy that put the restoration and redesign on both Hurstbourne Country Club and and Louisville Country Club.
Okay.
At the same time. So Louisville Country Club and Hurstbourne Country Club got a restoration project back in the day, like 2003, 5, whenever they all did that. And it was by Keith Foster, who is Mr. USGA.
Yeah.
Got a lot of great connections, but a lot of big golf tournaments here in the States. And then there's even a bigger one across the pond where all the Scottish Open, where all the top players are in. So, Teague, let's hear some fantasy picks from the PGA Tour.
We gave you 3 last week. My long shot hit 17 greens both days and shot 2 over for the tournament. Dude just can't putt.
Yeah.
Austin Eckroat, dude, if you're listening, go putt.
Yeah. Austin, we still like you, though. You got the power play of the week last week.
Yeah, but man.
We're going to tweet that out on our Twitter page for sure.
17 greens both days and then shoots 2 over.
How did my crime dog
horrible. I think Duffner was last. So
Duffner.
By the way, if you're listening to Joey, you could just take his picks and throw them out. But now the Kisner had a top 10. That was one we gave you. So if you played Kisner, he did really well. And then which is incredible.
Right.
And then Kyle Stanley had a good tournament as well. We gave you that one. So for me this week, I'm going to give you a couple crazy names. The first one I'm going with is Dylan Fratelli.
Good pick.
I think he's going to have a good week. I think he's a good play for your fantasy. Another guy I like's got a crazy name is Seamus Power.
Oh, I like Seamus this week,
I think you play Seamus because I think he's, again, you're talking about going low. This guy's got the ability to do it. And then for kind of a bigger name, I'm going to go Brian Harmon.
Good. I like that.
Those are my 3.
All right. What do you got, Joey?
All right. I'm going to just, going for the big money again. So don't listen to what I have
big money, no whammies.
All right, I think Camilo Villegas wins this tournament.
God bless, dude. Are we even sure he plays anymore?
Is he in the field?
Is he on the tour anymore?
Look, I'm looking at it right now. I'm just taking him every week. Whether he's in the field
that
or not,
you are.
every week. All right, so I got Stallings. I'm going to take Stallings. Look, man.
Steven Stallings?
Yeah, I'm going to take Steven Stallings, man. I like my man Steven Stallings.
Oh, how about that? I
Kentucky
love
connection. All right.
TGA connection right there.
Go Tigers.
Go Golf Academy, Steve Stallings, UK, go
Yeah.
Cats.
That's part of your old guys. He's one of your guys. That's right.
That's definitely one of CK's guys for sure.
So basically, there's 2 guys with the last name Kim in this tournament. So I'm going to use this as like a stablemate pick, like I'm betting horses, and I'm just going to take both of them.
Well, and that's interesting because both of those Kims have chosen not to play in the Open Championship.
Yeah,
to play
for the Olympics.
For the Olympics, and because of the protocol and all that stuff, I have no idea why they wouldn't go play in the Open Championship. Don't
because
quite
they
understand.
Go in the military.
But it is, yeah. So it's either they go and win a medal, and or they got to go in the military right afterwards. One of the Kims has already did his service in the military, so it's the younger Kim.
This is going to be funny, Josh. So Siwoo Kim is on one of these websites. Is one of the guys you do not want to take this week. He was hurt. He's got a bad back. There's a couple other things, a couple other reasons why you don't want to take him.
Well, I'm going to tell you that's hilarious, and I am going to and Joey, good luck, right? Joey, and because I have been single-handedly called out as picking everybody in the field.
You do, man.
I like to pick the winners. I like to give you who's going to compete, but I am going to go. I'm just going to name drop 2 guys, and they're both historic for this tournament. And one of them is the defending U.S. Senior Open champion, Steve Stricker. He is skipping to defend his title in Nebraska to play in the TPC event in Deer Run because that's where he's from.
And dude can play.
He has been hot. He's been hot on the senior tour. He's also captain in the U.S. Ryder Cup team that's upcoming at Whistling Straits. So this is his.
I think he can make the cut.
I think he makes the cut. I think he plays well. I think he actually plays well on Sunday.
Yeah.
And so I'm going to interview him. He's making the cut. He's going to play well on Sunday. And your champion leads the field in strokes gained here forever, and maybe most rounds ever played. And he is an Open champion. Zach Johnson.
Oh, wow. Okay.
I'm going to give you Zach Johnson. I'm going to go with Zach, and then I will take
Zach's
one
a
of
great pick, by
Yeah,
the way.
Zach's. I mean, his track record.
I'd
on
like
this
to
golf
second that
course,
pick.
I'm a big fan of Zach Johnson. I mean, if you know me, you know Zach Johnson is one of my favorite professionals that's ever played.
And it's a really good pick for this week.
Yes,
for numerous reasons. So yeah.
And then if I'm going to give you an international player, I'm going to go with Seamus Power too. I mean, he's been playing fantastic golf. He's up there on the strokes gained from the fairway. So I mean, I think that he's one of those that when you play TPC golf courses, it is about hitting the ball into the right corner of the green.
Right.
These complexes, the TPC Deer Run, I mean, are historic. This is, and when I say historic, is that they give up birdies. If you hit it into the right corner, you will make a lot of birdies. In this way, you see 20 under par win there, and then you see a lot of newcomers who've won on this golf course for the first time. Jordan Spieth, Bryson DeChambeau, I mean, you know, kind of made their splash into the PGA Tour world. So ought to be an interesting tournament this week. That one spot for into the Open Championship, I think, is huge. But Steve Stricker, Zach Johnson, those are my two plays.
Well, I'm telling you, y'all are going to think I'm the guru when my guys finish 1, 2, 3, and 4. I'm telling you.
Who you got in the Scottish Open? Let's go in the Scottish Open real quick. I mean, who you got? The field over there is incredible. I mean, the pairings, JT, Roy, Rahm. You got Xander. You got Tyrrell Hatton and Fleetwood paired together. I mean,
it's hard to go against Rahm on this one, in my opinion.
I think he has. I think he makes the cut this week. But he's not in play.
You think?
Nah, he's just over here prepping. I mean, you know, he's still riding that.
Well,
US.
I think all of them. I mean, same
with
JT and Roy and all of them. But Rahm's so good right now, man. It's hard to go against him.
I'm going to say in the Scottish Open, you're going to get a Scotland guy. I'm going with somebody that we don't even know. He's got
a Scottish name.
He's just a Scottish guy.
Okay.
I mean, you know, it's just
somebody wearing a kilt.
Somebody I would love to see somebody wear a kilt in the British Open. How cool would that be? Fight around, smacking it out there with a kilt, true kilt. Oh,
there you go. There you go.
Well, hey, I say we ride this one out. This has been a great podcast.
My Scottish Open pick. Do I not get one?
Oh yeah,
go.
Yeah, go.
All right, I think Justin Thomas wins. I think he gets his putting in order and he wins.
This is a perfect place to get your putting in. They're all slow and straight.
Man, I hope. I want to see JT start playing well.
I want to see JT win next week.
Yeah.
Champion golfer of the world, Justin Thomas.
I love it.
All right. Hey, thank y'all. Check us out on Apple Podcasts, our YouTube page.
Like our Facebook page.
Share. Let's go. Bump us out, DJ.